Alright, we're going to be continuing with Lamordia today. We've got an extra member here with us. We've got Thorgy. He's our tank. Ah, close. Alright, this quest is a two-parter. It's relatively long, but kind of fun. With some interesting mechanics in it, I'll explain as we go. Whoops, buff's too early. My apologies if the sound of me moving in my chair just came through. Had to readjust a little bit. Go time!
You've come to Ludendorff Asylum in search of Armin Auerbach, the only one who knows how to modify the unbreakable heart. It's imperative that you find him before Dr. Mordenheim catches on to his work.
Now those orange names, they hit hard, so be aware of them if you're doing this solo or on higher difficulties. Whoops.
You can only hope that she'll cooperate. The receptionist cowers as she pulls a nearby lever, triggering an alarm. You hear a voice echoing in the chamber.
It's the alarm!
The voice says,
An enemy of Dr. Mordenheim has entered the asylum. Orderlies, hunt them down.
That was quick. All right. Get on that golem before he causes a problem. Oh, Soul of Ice. I want a repeat of the first fight. That door down the end opens up later. You can come back if you need to, if you've missed something. Alright, this guy cannot be killed.
in the center of this room.
You have someone grab his aggro and run him into the walls to break them. Behind them there are levers that will open the way forward.
I haven't seen you before. You must be the intruder.
He gives you a curt nod.
I'm the head orderly here. Before I pummel you to the ground, let's have a chat. Perhaps we can settle this without our fists.
He beckons you over to him.
Very well. Then I'll make you wish you left when I gave you the chance.
This wall looks weak.
And that opens up this door so we can move forward.
The head orderly might bring it down. You try to escape the head orderly, but he rounds the corner, following you into this room.
Alrighty. Once he's broken the wall, you step through.
You run through the gap left by the broken wall. You expect the head orderly to come after you, but he hesitates when he sees the patients gathered nearby.
Go ahead, run.
He says,
I'll find you later, away from prying eyes.
In the courtyard, you make sure to grab your fishing rod. There's also a note over here for anyone who's collecting the notes for
bring
XP.
it with you, just in
Collectible
case
over
you
here
have
as well.
use for it later.
For those interested, that's the hallway that we were talking about earlier that opens up.
Bird dropped nearby. A patient must have confused you for an enemy.
I'll take out them so we don't have to deal with them later. There is a shrine in here. Those who care or want it. And the other side has a lever you have to pull and some enemies to kill.
When the lever is pulled, the alarm turns off, and the pulsing lights dim.
This room can be scary as hell. These poltergeists hit really hard, so I recommend when you're in here, keep jumping and moving around to avoid their projectiles, especially if you're on your own and they all hit you. Whoop. Plague Reapers can be nasty. They apply a healing curse, which cannot be removed. It just disappears on its own after a few seconds. That reduces all incoming healing by an extremely large amount.
You catch a glimpse of something shining inside.
There's a note here. We're going to be returning to this spot later once we've cleared the water out.
The fetid water prevents you from getting a closer look. If the water were drained, you could use the fishing rod to probe its depths.
In here is a locked chest. Always worth getting them because, well, they all have ingredients. Ingredients can help you make your items out of here. And there's a note on the table for those collecting them. Another note here.
You've read all the notes spread throughout these rooms.
We didn't actually read all the notes, but if more than one person interacts with the note at the same time, it can count more than once. That's why that popped up that way.
This room is covered in valves and pipes. A gushing stream of water flows from one of the pipes into the floor.
In this room, the floor becomes electrified, so you want to make sure your party is up off the floor
And drain the wash basin.
or is standing on the wood over there before you pull the levers.
The valves lock in place and the door opens.
Right.
Now that
In this room, there's a collectible around here, but you want to hang out next to this person once you have it, because the floor is going to collapse and you can get an optional fight.
The floor crumbles beneath you, and you plummet into a trash-filled room. The OTL withers and dies.
You didn't get to see it in that fight, but when he goes to breathe his goo disease shit, you want to stand behind a pillar so that he can block it. The disease is nasty. That shrine is a bait. There are no more fights from this point, so you don't need to worry about it. Here's the last note. Then we want to head into the hallway to go back to that drain that we saw earlier to get the key with the fishing rod that we collected outside.
Now that the drain has been cleared, you use the fishing rod to latch onto whatever is inside. Your effort rewards you with a silver key, the missing key to the patient's wing.
Yeah, you'll need to remove disease. Sorry, one of our group got infected by the Otyugh. And then you finish the quest by opening the door.
You use the silver key to
You can
unlock
hand
the door
in
leading to the
your
patient's
quest
wing.
here in order to get your loot and pick up the next one if you haven't already got it. And you can step straight into the next one. I'm going to go into my Be Back Soon screen for a moment because I've noticed that my my little cheese person is speaking when I'm muted, so I will be back in a moment. Alright. Sorry about that, I fixed it now. The second part, once again, has some interesting spots. Nothing that can't be handled too easily. Man, once clerics get higher levels and they can replace all of their single target buffs with multi-target. Ugh. So much nicer. And much more efficient, because look at that. Look at how much spell points it's cost to get through buffs so far. So expansive.
You return to the asylum, ready to find and free Armin Auerbach. You need his help
In this
to
hallway,
modify
there
the
are lots of
unbreakable
doors.
heart,
Purely
so that
because
you
of the
can
group we're with,
receive
we're going to open all the doors
Dr.
just because we
Mordheim.
like doing
You
so.
step out of
But I
the
will tell you
asylum's
which doors are
reception
important and
area
which ones are
into the
not.
dark and quiet patient's
This
wing.
one has a note in it.
Now you can continue your search for Armin Auerbach.
This one has some boxes. The next one on the left is going to have one of the quest things and move forward parts. This one will just have extra optional stuff in it. These ones again have extra stuff that you don't need to take, but you can if you want. This one here has an instruction manual required for the quest. It also, door closed behind you, don't need to worry about it.
It contains instructions on how to build a bomb that will counter the head orderly's special power, the blessing of the full moon.
We've had a DC, so we're probably going to stop around for a second. In the meantime, why the hell not? I'll tell you about what this character is. This isn't a very special character in any regard. It's pretty stock standard arcane trickster. It's designed to throw magic missiles around for as much damage as possible. I played a different variant of an arcane trickster last life, where I went with efficiency over damage. Got myself to a point where I could basically cast any of my spells magic missile on cooldown for free, even with all my meta magics on it. But this time around, but you lose the capstone from arcane trickster doing it that way. So this time around, I've decided to go with a more damage focused setup, where I go full 20 arcane trickster, get double damage on my magical ambushes. It's actually working reasonably well. I haven't found too much of an issue. I don't have any meta magics on my base magic missile, but with the stolen spell as an SLA and the shadow blade as one as well, just pump those. They're my main damage outputs. This is just to fill gaps. I really enjoy Arcane Trickster, honestly. Arcane Trickster is very fun. The slaps from the enhancement trees are incredibly good. This stun basically works on everything. Its DC is high enough that you're probably going to be fine. Even as a first lifer, you can probably get your disable device high enough as a pure Arcane Trickster that you can just disable everything without worrying about it. Helping Hand is an excellent tool. I love this thing. This thing is such a clutch ability. So good. I went with Half Elf this life, but honestly, the reason I went for Half Elf is because I could get the one imbue that actually works on spells from Warlock Dilettante, but with its 2-second internal cooldown, probably not worth it. I would just go with either Dampier for permanent sneak attack dice, or go for Eladrin to get burst amounts of sneak attack dice. Yeah, this mostly just focuses on force damage output, Fade Arc Illusionist, Arcane Trickster. I'm not going to touch like anything else. I might take some extra Disable Device DCs from Mechanic. I might take extra speed from Thief Acrobat. But they're just fluff. They're extras. You don't need them. Alright, we're back at it. Alright, down here you need to go in order to get one of the bomb ingredients and open a door. There's also a collectible in here. And we had both of these guys spawn. These are both random spawn, they don't always appear. It's not difficulty based, it's just random chance. Making jokes in the group about the mage hand slap. It is the funniest animation. Oh, I absolutely love it. We just call it a bitch slap. It's so good.
Dr. Bauer describes how the director of the asylum has been abusing.
By the way, in order to quickly get through conversations like that, you can assign a hotkey to press the first selection within a conversation, and most conversations can be gotten through very quickly by just spamming through them with that button. Alright, this is a special room. This is where the interesting mechanics will pop up for the first time in this dungeon. There are lots of breakables in here, however, once the head orderly comes back in, you have to break all of the explosive barrels in order to trap him in here under a fallen roof. You once again can't actually kill him, so you just gotta lock him in here and head out.
Pinning him. Now's your chance to escape. You flee the crumbling, fiery room. You've read all the notes contained in the asylum. You find an incomplete passcode inside this journal. You enter the correct passcode. The safe springs open, revealing an iron.
If you don't have the ability to pick a lock like I did or disable device, the notes to learn what the code is are up here. And the next one is downstairs near a trapped chest. As you can see there, where Thorgy has just run up to, that's the other scrap of paper that tells you the code for the safe upstairs. Once you have them both, you can just go up there and get it. Oh, sorry for the extended silence there. Laughing with Guild about streaming. Talking about how much anxiety issues I've had in the past. I've always wanted to stream. If you noticed in my About section, I've been playing this game since 2006, so I'm not new. I've just never gotten around to actually going through with streaming because of my anxiety problems and setup requirements. Right, so now we're heading downstairs.
Beside this locked door reads to the basement. The door requires an iron key. You turn the iron key in the lock. The door to the basement swings open.
In this room here is a collectible. Not required in any way, but if you want the collectible, by all means. Here is the item we actually need, the rope for the bomb. Not sure what happened to the zombie there. It just vanished. I think it bugged out as it spawned inside of someone. I don't think there's anything in these rooms. Oh, there are some kills. Yeah. Screw it.
You see a sturdy crafting table in the center of this room. You can use it to craft the bomb. You've found all the materials needed to create the bomb, as described in the manual you found earlier. Now to combine the pieces.
There's a weird bug in this quest where this area has a lockout as you see the door closed. On the other side of that door is a teleport thing to send you through, but it doesn't send you through correctly. Instead, it sends you to the final room and you get locked in there until everybody else appears. I've watched some other people stream or do this quest where they've gotten confused about how people got into the final room before them, and it's because they got locked out of this room and got teleported through that way. So that's interesting and kind of funny. Alright, in the next room we've got one more component to pick up for the bomb. Augie already did. And then you use the workshop table, build the bomb.
You combine the materials to create the bomb. You can use it in your
Take
next
the key.
confrontation with the head orderly to dispel his special
There's another
power.
note.
You find a green key on the dusty floor. You see a wide array of
This isn't a
weapons.
particularly hard puzzle. You're just putting the
Along
brains
with
in
a row
the
of
jars
brains and jars.
for the colors that they're wearing. So red brain goes to red jar, blue brain goes to blue jar, black brain weirdly goes to green jar. So that one's weird, but nonetheless, all the others are just the same color as them.
A panel in the wall slides open, revealing a hidden passage.
There is a shrine on the right. And then the final fight is on the left. This, behind this wall here that opens up when we pull this lever, this is where people get sent to if they try to use the door into the optional after getting locked out.
The wall splits open, revealing a large laboratory and a metal cage. A gnome imprisoned in the cage calls out as you approach.
Who's that? Mordenheim? It couldn't be. A friend? Impossible! Who are you?
You use the green key to open the cage holding Armin Auerbach. Armin Auerbach says he'd help you if he could.
This fight is once again interesting. He has beat up Diedrich,
To prove the point,
but then
both
once you're dealing with
director
just the
and
head orderly,
immediately walk in.
he's basically just on a timer, and eventually he will become
The head
his werewolf form.
charges, but director
Once he is,
brings
someone needs to come
the
stand on
fight.
the circle to put the bomb down,
Crumples to the
and then you want to lead him onto the
Be
circle.
able to mistreat the asylum's patients any longer.
And be careful of that charge. If you're inside of it, it does damage and can knock you down. And you don't want to get stuck on the floor, especially if you're in here on your own as a non-tanky person dealing with him. Here he goes. He's going to turn to a werewolf. Put the bomb down.
Transforms into a werewolf with a deafening howl. Now that his true nature has been revealed, you can weaken him.
Now he's vulnerable. You can kick his ass.
You position the bomb on the floor. Now to lead the head orderly into your trap. The head orderly steps on the bomb you left on the floor. He howls as his figure dims, as though some vital force has been drained from his body.
Now we have a conversation with
Now that
Eleanor
he's
Bauer.
weakened, you can defeat him once and for all. The head orderly lets
Now she'll
out
eventually open up a
whimper
portal
as
in the
his
back of the
body
room.
thuds against
This is
the
where you
stone
go
tiles.
through.
You half expect him to rise again, but he stays down. Now forever at rest.
Well done. I must thank you for dealing with the director.
And once the portal has
Dr.
appeared, you
Bauer
go
tells
through.
you She has no allegiance to Mordenheim and doesn't see any reason to keep the technician in custody.
Speak to Elise. The quest will end pretty quickly, but then you gotta wait like a minute for the chest to appear annoyingly.
As
I don't like that this chest takes so long to appear.
Dr. Bauer says, her enthusiasm growing.
For example, evidence shows that the innovative new lobotomy procedure can do a great deal to soothe the nerves and calm aggression. I'll start trials straight away.
Dr. Bauer opens a portal that will send you to your next destination.
And that's Locked Away Part 1 and Part 2.
On the Isles of Agony, you step out of the portal and into Elise's cabin.
Armin, you're safe. Come, we don't have much time. Let's get to work.
Elise says she's ready to undergo the procedure. She nods at Armin, signaling him to begin. Armin begins work on the unbreakable heart, modifying its structure so that it will self-destruct when triggered by Elise. Elise gives you a grim nod.
Just get me in front of Victra and I'll set off the fireworks. I might be going down, but she's coming with me. I'm ready to go to Schloss-Mordenheim whenever you are. Defeating Victra won't be easy for me, but I think you have what it takes to help me do it. Victra, my love, your time has come.
Alright, next up we're going to Light in the Attic. This one's pretty straightforward, not a whole lot unique or interesting in here. Speed up the enemies that we fight, take on some skeletons. Want to wait up for Reii and Aethor though. Yeah, as I said before, not much unique about this one. Mostly just dealing with waves of enemies, standard quest stuff. I'll show you where any secret doors, etc. are that we go through in order to get optional stuff. I love the Warforged Pseudo-Dragon. It's excellent. Although I also love Mine when he appears. There he is.
Courtyard to find the source of the mysterious light.
My little
Perhaps
kobold.
it's the woman with the lantern just ahead.
Oh my god, that hat.
This woman isn't who you're searching for.
Talk to them.
She's just protecting her son's grave.
We
from
need to
grave
move
robbers.
forward.
Suddenly, an eerie light begins to shine down from the north. This
Despair,
rundown
take it out
building
quickly.
is
Don't want it to buff its allies too much.
It's no surprise that no one's worried about her son's grave.
Right, in terms of requirements, up that is the direction we need to eventually go. But through that door is a lever we have to pull to open up the secret up here.
You can easily make out the outline of a door here. There's a lit blue signal crystal just to the left of this secret door.
You can see them trying to get to me already through this door.
You pull the lever and the loud scraping noise rumbles nearby. For some reason, you suddenly smell fried food and stale beer. This explains all the dead
In here,
monsters.
once you've taken out the enemies, you gotta talk to the bartender.
Several of the grave robbers rush towards you, itching for a fight.
There are enemies up there though.
The bartender explains that the Deadmongers took over this building after they abandoned Gruber Manor next door. Apparently, that place became overrun by the undead. With the last of this batch of
Alrighty,
body
you can break some
snatchers
boxes
defeated,
around here,
you can
and then
now
we're going through
explore
the door
upper
that's
part
behind
of the
me.
tavern in peace.
This direction here has a optional chest behind it and a collectible. It's also got some breakables, so if you're going for ransack, it's a good idea to head down here. Here's the collectible. here's the chest. Red crowns are nasty. Be aware that red crowns can very quickly ruin a quest. But you don't have to worry about crowns on lower difficulties. Normal crowns don't spawn at all. I think they can spawn on hard, but they're not very often going to spawn on hard. And they have far fewer enhancements than what they do on higher difficulties. On Elite, they start to spawn more often. On Reaper, they start to spawn quite often in addition to your Reapers. And they start getting extra abilities. As you can see, there's a secret door here for an optional.
Something heavy had been dragged here. The door ends abruptly at a black wall. The door opens, revealing a concealed passageway. You can just make out the marks of wagon wheels on the stone floor.
I got frozen. I don't think there's anything up here, just running to check. Nothing up here. And here, there's a chest. Don't get fooled by it, there are traps around it.
This grisly depot is where the local deadmonger stores some of the corpses they snatch before delivering them onto their customers.
One of the things that Arcane Trickster is excellent for is the ability to not have to move while you're disabling traps. You can just cycle through them very quickly, one at a time. Honestly, quite satisfying.
The sealed doorway shatters into pieces,
Alright.
revealing a large open courtyard.
Once again, as with all the poltergeists, be careful of them, they hit really hard.
A chill settles into the air as you enter the building. And it's not just the temperature. This place feels uneasy.
Getting our buffs done. Buffing is one of those things in this game that can take a really long time, but buffs are incredibly useful. They can save your life on so many occasions when dealing with this game. Don't overlook the idea of applying buffs to people. This group bickers about buffs like I have never heard anyone bicker about buffs. All right. We got some bonus to deal with. More bonus.
Dust and decay hang heavy in the air. A single lit crystal is mounted near a sealed
Right.
doorway.
There's another option off to the right here. There is like nothing to the right. There's no collectible. There's no boxes. Nothing.
A feeling
At
of
left,
intense
sorry.
dread
So the right is the only
overcomes
thing you care about.
even before you can make out its source. Horrifying, spectral form. The form dissolves into nothingness, and an eerie calm fills the area.
After that optional, in order to get through this door, as you can see, there is a gem on the side of it. It's in here. Just waiting on everyone else to discover that there's nothing up the other end of there. More poltergeists. Reaper. What Carnage Reapers do is they just hit rather hard in melee, and they apply a stacking debuff when they hit you that increases your
A loud
vulnerability.
click can be heard from the sealed doorway.
Dealing with them relatively quickly is a good idea. Letting them hit you a lot is a good way to get yourself taken out.
You come across something shiny.
There are two
bright
overlapping
light. The creature,
collectibles
whatever
here.
it is, immediately runs off. Could this be what you came here to find?
Whoops. I got too close to these guys. That was silly. My team saved my ass. We're getting very close to the end now. We've got this last group to deal with, and then the final boss. Despairs you want to take out quickly. I think I already mentioned it this video. I'll mention it again. Despair Reapers you want to take out quickly because they, while alive, keep applying an aura that buffs their allies and debuffs players. Alright,
The
final
temperature
fight.
drops even further as you step out onto the roof. You suddenly realize what's making things so cold in this building. It's the powerful light flickers out. You've quieted the lost souls of Google Manor, bringing peace to the neighborhood.
Ooh, Necromancy.
Now
That's
to
pretty
report
cool.
your findings to the police.
Alright, after this, the next one we're going to head to is the Polstein Mines for the quest A Miner's Sacrifice. Now this mine is honestly one of the hardest quests out in this zone. It's very, very nasty. Take it slow, don't be afraid to bring out hirelings if you need them. Keep yourself healed between fights, because the mutants in here can very quickly drop your health if you're not paying attention. If you want to try and mitigate the damage that this quest does to you, it's mostly physical damage and acid damage that you're worrying about. All right. Finn plays in extreme widescreen. He's got 3 monitors set up that he plays across. And he can't see all the monitors at once. So he just had a trade window sitting up, waiting for him to accept it because he ran out of first level spell components, so someone else hit him up. And he was just sitting there not accepting the trade. For the most part, this quest doesn't have anything particularly special about it. There's a jumping section, but that's really it. Other than that, it's just people you talk to, doors you open up. You want to be careful when going through the barriers you open up, because the lightning lasts longer than the barrier itself does, and the lightning can hit hard.
This is supposed to be a working mine. Yet judging from the bones littering the floor, the strange goo splattered on the ground, something has gone terribly wrong. The Overseer explains that he needs 2 ores from the mine to find the unbreakable heart. The problem being that the mine has been overrun with...
So as you see, I talk to this thing, lowers the barrier, but the lightning stays for a little bit. That lightning does do damage, so be careful when walking through too quickly. Alright. So from here, the first lot of the dangerous enemies are going to appear. They'll be on the left once we head through this doorway. They'll break through a wall. AoE, like Sound Burst and other crowd controls, are very handy for dealing with them. These are oozes. They will break your weapons if you attack them with a melee weapon. They also spit and leave behind fire zones. Be careful when dealing with them.
The shield on the speaking device to the west has been deactivated.
Alright. Another lot of another lot of enemies will break through the wall. Plague Reaper. They're the ones who apply the healing curse. The other two kinds of Reapers that I've not noticed yet, but I should probably talk about, are Fear Reapers. Fear Reapers will apply stacking dots, which is damage over times, to everyone in your group. They do it over a pretty large range. So you want to take them out relatively quickly. Those dots can stack up nasty. And they stack with one another, so multiple Fear Reapers can be dangerous. The last one is Famine Reapers. They cast spells. Nothing too special about them other than they're just spellcasting enemies, and spellcasting enemies in DDO tend to be rather dangerous. Just a consequence of how spells really work. As an arcane trickster or someone else who uses magic missile, something to take note of is Famine Reapers will cast shield on themselves. So you want to have a way to get rid of that shield, such as Pinpoint, which makes your mage hand abilities automatically dispel Night Shield and shield effects. We're handling these mutated miners a lot better than I expected we would. They can be very nasty if you're not paying attention to them hitting you. Alrighty, this direction up here goes to an optional.
You hear something.
And as with all the optionals out here, it's worth doing. You want the chests because you want the ingredients.
You can barely make out.
Vengeance Reaper. Fear Reapers. That was a pretty nasty fight. I messed up there and killed the Vengeance Reaper when I shouldn't have. We should have used a crowd control on it and dealt with the other things first. I ended up making the fight nastier than it needed to be, and it was probably my fault that Aethor died there.
People locked inside these cells beg for you to free them.
Ow. Brown orange name. Collectible here, and in the darkness of this corridor, there is a chest.
The cell doors unlock, and the survivors make their way back to the exit.
There's a shrine here. This is one of the special rooms in here. It's jumping.
Corrosive liquid fills the bottom of this large chamber, which seems to have partially collapsed. You spy an unusual mineral formation down below. You recovered some Victranium ore, one of the minerals the Overseer asked you to find.
I forgot to mention this, especially to the group. Once you get down in this room, back up in this area, there are respawns. Our tank just found that out because he was AFK at the beginning of the quest. And is now running through. I'm having some difficulties making the jumps. I messed up in there. I fell in the acid. Got me killed. So try not to do that. Especially in that one section I reached, which was deep acid, and my stone got a little bit stuck in there. So what we went in there for, someone else collected it for me, but there is a, down where those oozes were is an ore in the wall, a green node. You want to talk to that, because that's one of the required ores for the quest. The other one is later. Alrighty, so from here we're going back to the same sort of things we were doing up to this point, mostly just fighting groups of enemies. Going through barriers when we reach them.
Creatures crowd around the barrier.
Collectible here.
An unusually large one lumbers forward and attacks.
Hello, thank you for the follow, Mr. Snooberholic. Snoober... Lolic, sorry. Here's the other ore that we're after for this quest.
You have recovered a sample of Elysium, one of the two types of ore the Overseer needs.
Collectible in the corner over here. Once you use this last device, a shrine is going to appear here. Once you step through the doors and deal with the enemies, there is no going back for it. So if you want it, you gotta use it now. Ah, thank you. I also love cheese. Hence the name, in fairness.
The Overseer says he's going to take credit, cleaning out the mud and finding the unbreakable heart. He just has to take care of one loose end first.
Welcome in, Mr. Snoop. How are you doing today? Or is it Mrs. Snoop? Sorry, I just realized.
The device whirs to life, then marks the location of the unbreakable heart on the map. It's a place to the north known as the Isles of Agony. With this information, you can now track down Elise and enlist her help against Dr. Mordenheim.
Oh, that makes sense. Fair enough. From here, we're gonna recall out, double recall out. Normally, we would continue across from here all the way to the other side to do the wish, but we've got people who need spell components anyway. I'm glad. Not sure why my bot there detected that as inappropriate content. I don't see a single thing you've said there that is not okay, but you know, whatever. Have a good one. Hope your work's not too much of a drag. Oh god, yeah. Weather being too hot messes with me too. Have fun. Stay nice and cool if you can. The favor from here is worth getting if you have access to it, by the way. 5% fortification bypass, that is amazing on any kind of weapon damage dealer. Alright, one of our members is going to have to go AFK for a while, but we're going to continue in the meantime. I'll just be rerunning those quests with him afterwards to catch him up. Not going to do what I did yesterday where just do nothing and then end up stopping. At the moment, they're discussing 50-point builds. By claiming the +2 stats from completionist and racial completionist are part of your point buys. They're getting lost in the discussions of semantics of what a tabletop board game is. The most important discussions happen when you're just hanging out with random friends and you all have silly like-minded weirdness. The next quest we'll be doing will be special delivery. Normally we would have gone to the Wish, but because we recalled out between them, it's easier to head to special delivery first, then up to Beneath the City Streets, and then the Wish. There's also items that someone in our group wants from them, so I'll help them. I'll re-roll chests to try and get them for him. Sorry, I noticed spikes on my microphone just then. Apologies if that was making noises come through. So in terms of doing these quests, what I normally do is after the entrance one over here, I'll normally go do these ones on the docks because they're all in a nice line, then recall out, sell and repair, make sure you got everything you need. I would then normally head southwards, do these quests in a row, Locked Away, Light in the Attic, Minor Sacrifice, and then head straight across the bottom to the Wish, and then start heading upwards beneath city streets, Special Delivery, Zoo Creeper, Snowfall and Sunlight. Because we've recalled out between them, I'll do Special Delivery, head southwards down through Body Snatchers to here, and then head upwards to head to Zoo Creeper. This quest has some interesting things. I'll point them out, but I probably won't actually use them. There are some teleport locations in this quest you can use if you want to. I love that one guard who's just staring you down like, "There's fuckers, they've entered our warehouse."
This is where goods of all kinds are delivered to Ludendorff University.
It doesn't do anything until you actually approach to fight them.
The scientists warn you away in no uncertain terms.
There's a note over here. Thought he ran over to get it. You can also avoid that first fight by jumping up over the barrels if you have sneak and want to sneak past the first fight. Like that way. You can also avoid these. I think you can avoid this fight, and there isn't really anything in here, but in case you want to just make sure you've killed everything, you can head to this room. For some reason, some of the things out here remain as blocking enemies, even once they're dead. Very strange. I don't know what causes that. It's not too much to deal with. They're just sometimes physical objects you have to jump or move around. These are the things that are special. If you use these... Depending on which one you lay in, it teleports you to one of the rooms in this section. Halfway through the explanation, guild member in the chat asked if I was going to explain it to you guys. So as you'll see down here, there is a room on the left. The left coffin will bring you here. The right coffin will take you to the same room but on the other side of these hallway corridors.
This room seems to be where dead bodies are stored, where the scientists set to work on them.
Here we go. Famine Reaper. Didn't last very long, but they cast spells. Ah. Down here you have to go. One of the coffins will bring you to here, so you can skip walking through the hallways if you want by taking it. But you'd end up waking up in this room with all these enemies surrounding you, so it might not be a very good idea to... Might be a bit of a scary thing to step into. But you need the Institute key to move on. Up here on this door will be another note. There it is, next to the door. Now there are two directions you can head out from this room. I suggest heading right, because you need to end up going left after you've pulled the lever on the right to open the doors on the left. So you might as well just go right immediately, as opposed to needing to do a full loop around just to end up at the same spot. There's a secret door here on the left with Grimeshkas behind it and a locked chest. I will open that up once we have dealt with these guys. As with all chests, if you have the opportunity to get it in here, it's worth doing. It doesn't drop any named items, but it does drop ingredients. First shrine of the quest, over there. I think there's also a note up here. I was wrong. There's a note on this table, however. This is the direction you have to go in order to pull that lever I was talking about earlier. There's also a note in this room behind those boxes right there. You can just see its sparkles popping up. I forgot to block the damage there. There was a hand floating around me. If you block it, you block the damage.
You found the director's office, but the Institute director isn't here. Perhaps the memo on his desk contains a clue to his whereabouts. The Institute is creating a huge number of flesh constructs to work in Lamordia's fishing fleet, under the supervision of Dr. Victra Mordenheim. You must destroy the equipment in the construct creation laboratory, then notify the authorities.
Once you've dealt with the lever, you're heading over to the other side that you avoided earlier. There are 2 puzzles to complete. One of the puzzles you've already seen in these kinds of areas. It's one of those sort of laser grid things. As you can see, this is one of those laser grid ones. This one, unlike the last one, has lines all over the floor. If you can't tell what they're pointing at, you can just follow the lines. The other one is a laser floor grid. You see these all through the place.
Metallic groan as a door swings.
After you've done that, you head back into this hallway. This is where an optional that has a named item chest in it is. There's another note here if you've missed one.
This room is covered with mystic symbols, quite unlike the other authorities.
Just helping a guildmate get the Death's Anchor. They needed that for a future life.
You spot the Institute director working on an array of equipment designed to create multiple constructs at once. He immediately rushes to attack. How to hinder this project? He cries. So much is at stake.
In this room, there are enemies on both sides as well as the enemies. You also need to break all of the things in this lab to complete the quest. And you may have noticed as we're coming in, there was another note on the doorway into this room. There are more notes in here than is actually required in order to get the optional completed.
Shut down this laboratory. Yet to stop this morbid scheme completely, you will need to confront Victra Mordenheim herself. Time to contact the authorities and tell them what's going on.
In terms of doing these quests, is probably the last one we're going to run tonight. So, in terms of continuing, I'm going to continue streaming. I'm going to continue running quests. I'm probably going to stick with Reii. We're going to rerun this quest a couple of times, see if we can get the arcane contraption for him. Yeah, we are. I had actually forgotten that we actually don't need to. We could have one of us could abandon and then have the other person share. So I actually used my arm to return all the way to Ludendorff anyway. Oh, I'm speaking to stream instead of to the group. My bad. An interesting way to get around needing to rerun out to quests in... Yep. So how it works is once you've completed a quest in a Slayer area, Yeah, well, after you've completed a quest in a Slayer area, you can recall out of the quest, provide your inner party member with someone. One of you abandons the quest, the other person shares it again, and you can step straight back into the quest without needing to go and hand it in and then make the run back out. This can make farming for items a lot easier if you're in a duo or more.
This is where flutes of all kinds are delivered at Ludendorff University. Perhaps the foreman knows why dead bodies are being brought here. The scientists warn you away in no uncertain terms.
Yes, now we're going to just complete this for a while. Now, in order to avoid these, if you want to, you can... it immediately turned, but you can jump over those zones that they look at to avoid them. Just like last time, we're going to do some of the same things. We might avoid the left side entirely, since the only thing we need to do in there is go and get breakables and murders. And what we're actually after is an item. Just like last time, you gotta go in here because you gotta get the key.
Success! Crows the scientist next to the operating table.
Now then, let's observe the revivified servitor deal with a practical problem. This unwelcome intruder.
Probably shouldn't have come in here on R5, just the two of us, but I wasn't really thinking and just stepped in. So that's what we're doing it on. Yeah. Has yet to bite us, but it might. We'll see. Just like last time, no reason to go left before we've gone right. More ingredients. All of the ingredients out of here, at least in heroics by the way, are not bound, except for the ones that come specifically from the purple names, the Transformers. So you can either have someone trade them to you, or you can trade them to other people if you've got some that they need.
Jars line the shelves of this laboratory.
There you go, that time I actually blocked the attacks.
You found the director's office, but the Institute director isn't here. Perhaps the memo on his desk contains a clue to his whereabouts. The Institute is creating a huge number of flesh constructs to work in Lamordia's fishing fleet, under the supervision of Dr. Victra Mordenheim. You must destroy the equipment in the construct creation laboratory, then notify the authorities.
This one I forgot that we can actually complete without completing it by not using that note in the director's office. Allows you to get to the end fight, loot the end chest, but not complete. Not sure why it clicked that one. I must have unintentionally mouse clicked it. Illyri is a very excellent hireling to have if you get it for the gold seal and for free, like a bunch of people did. I don't remember what it came from, but it's very handy to have because it has a feature that players can't get anymore called Divine Vitality, which returns spell points on use.
As a door swings open in the
And because it's a
distance.
gold seal, you can just summon it, give yourself spell points, dismiss it again, and then 5 minutes later you can do it again. It also lets you, if you have multiple people in the quest who all have their gold seal Illyri ready, you can just chain summon her, have her give her divine vitalities to whoever needs the SP, and then dismiss, and the next person does it.
Unlike the other
It can be very helpful in the circumstances where you're just in a quest that doesn't have many shrines, or it can help you push higher tiers, letting you spend more spell points without needing to worry about conserving them as much, so you can do more damage by having Empower on more things or Maximize on more spells, and take things out quickly despite the reduced damage output for Reaper difficulties.
Too much is at stake.
That was a spooky moment there. Reii dropped very quickly.
You've shut down this laboratory. Yet to stop this morbid scheme completely, you will need to confront Victra Mordenheim herself. Time to contact the authorities and tell them what's going on.
And there we go. We got it for Reii. Was just making sure that saga completion actually worked, because my Reii didn't get the chance to actually hand it in because of how that worked out. I'm going to take a quick break while we decide what we're doing next. We have decided to do Thrall of the Necromancer because Reii needs it to finish up Delera's. After that, though, I'm probably going to end it for the night, just so everyone's aware. Oops, I don't have game sound on. There we go. We're doing this on 5, and we're acknowledging the fact that we may not get through it because these are undead and we can't crowd control them. We're gonna see. These traps, I actually don't know how nasty they are now. They used to be really nasty, like kill you in one go kind of nasty. The only lever you have to pull to get through is this one. All the other ones just spawn enemies. There are more traps in this hallway. Poison and cold traps, I believe. They can be scary. First one is on this pillar. You avoid it by walking around. The next one is here. I will search it out. Here it is. Jump over it. The box is after it. Is here. Then there's the next trap. As you can see, there's the next box. I'm going to disable it without jumping over because this is a poison trap. It hurts. You got to jump it to disable it normally. This next room is rather scary if you just walk in and break all the sarcophagi at once, so we want to be careful with it. Don't step on the pressure plates till after you've done the things you want to do. Break sarcophagi, get your breakables bonus up, deal with these ads. Stepping on a pressure plate will cause a bunch of the sarcophagi to break and undead to spawn. Stepping on both causes this entire room to just very quickly become filled with undead. So step on them one at a time. Doing a quick run around so we don't have to deal with them later. There's another trap in this next room. You don't have to worry about it. It doesn't actually trigger until after you go down and pull the lever down that hallway. The box for it is on this wall. There's another trap in the next hallway, but the box for it is very early on. If you can't disable it, you avoid it by jumping between the sections going around these pillars. I'll demonstrate it as I go just to show you what I mean, even though the trap won't actually be active. By doing this. This will help you avoid the dart traps as they fly through the tunnels. When you pull this lever, a large number of enemies are going to spawn. We're going to have to be careful with it. As you can see, they're funneling in from down the other hallway in addition to just being in this room. Dealt with her pretty handily, thankfully. Not sure why my character thinks they're still in combat with something. It's probably the archers that have spawned back in that spike, back in the room that we didn't actually have to deal with the trap in at all. Some archers spawn there after you pulled the lever. And there they are, dealt with. More enemies gonna spawn. There is a trap on these. Yeah. The only one you have to pull, I believe, to open it is the one closest to the door. Don't pull the other ones if you don't want to get traps going off. Even if you disable the traps, they don't all completely disable. So you'll still have traps trigger if you pull the wrong levers. Up here is a lever you have to pull. There's also a couple of ghasts. Lightbearer on undead enemies is actually really hilarious. What Lightbearer is supposed to do is when you drop them low enough health, they heal up and remove CCs from themselves. And then you have to keep fighting them. On undead, they kill themselves because the healing does damage to them. Which is just so funny. I'm unsure if that's working as intended or if that's a bug that will eventually get fixed. But for as long as there have been light bearers, that's the way they've handled. Stepping in that water there spawned skeletons, as you just saw. If you don't want to fight skeletons, you don't have to. You can just not step in the water. This floor collapses, there are oozes at the bottom. Again, if you're fighting with melee weapons, oozes can very quickly break them, so be aware of that. There are ways to avoid this. Crystal weapons, glass weapons, or blue shine weapons can deal with it without breaking. And if you're attacking large numbers of types of oozes, attacking them with slashing weapons causes them to multiply. This isn't so bad if you're playing on non-Reaper difficulty, as whenever they split, their hit points are also reduced, which means that you can very quickly just mow through them by hitting them with slashing weapons. In Reaper difficulties, this becomes very scary because every time one of the users splits and spawns a new one or dies, there is a chance that it creates a Reaper. So because one ooze can very quickly become the equivalent of 10 plus spawns, one enemy has up to 20 chances of spawning Reapers. Very scary. Especially when you do it very quickly. So be aware of that. If you can handle it, then by all means, go ahead. Because each one also has the chance of being a crown, which can drop remnants. Sometimes this room gets you trapped. If it does, the doors will eventually open. If you don't want to wait, you can DDO back to the entrance. Guild member just brought up to me a very valid point. Electricity can also split some oozes, so be careful with that as well. Some classes have no choice but to do electricity damage, such as Storm Singers. This room has lots of enemies in it. If you kill him, a bunch of them just disappear. So you don't have to handle all of the enemies at once if you can burst down a named guy, Gideon, quickly. Three chests at the end. Two of them were locked, as you saw. I'm pretty sure these back two don't drop named items, but I could just straight up be wrong and lying to you by saying that. Alright, and that's that completed. Later on, I'll run this whole chain at some point and show you how you actually hand in the quests between some of them, because this gets really wonky. Involving this guy who is not the original quest chain giver, who you go to for all the other quests, and even entering a quest to talk to a quest NPC in order to move on through the quest as well. So I'll cover that later. I'll probably make a video on that even, just to you know, help people who get confused with it. In the meantime, thank you all for joining. I'm going to swap it to the end screen, and I will find someone to raid out to.